Welcome to episode number 274 of the Marine Layer podcast. We're trying to figure out what's going on with this Mariners deadline, and now sitting less than 48 hours away from it, there hasn't been much action after the Josh Naylor trade. We're going to dive in, and we're going to try and figure out what's up and what the Mariners could still do.
Here's your guys' reminder. Make sure you're staying on top of all of our stuff. If you want to stay on top of it all, you can go over to our website. That's marinelayerpod.com. You can find everything over there, you guys, from our episodes, which if you're listening on audio, please download, please rate and review and give it 5 stars. You can find our YouTube episodes on there too. You can go like, comment, and please hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Our merch is over there. We'd love to see you wear all the merch around the park, around town. Everything. We've got hats, hoodies, t-shirts, long sleeve shirts. It's really like you've really got your pick of the litter. So check that out on our website along with our Patreon and our live show schedule. All that's over at our website at Marine Layer Pod, and you can find us you can find it at our website marinelayerpod.com. On social media, that's where you can follow us at Marine Layer Pod.
Let's get it rolling.
The pitch from Acevedo. A drive deep to right field. Down the line. The Mariners win this game 2-1. The dream lives. They're going to the playoffs. 1-1 from Jansen. There you go. Left field. We got a tie ball game. Julio. Oh, baby, what a moment. Tie ball game at 7-7.
And we welcome you to this episode of the Marine Layer podcast, part of the Just Baseball Podcast Network, recording on Tuesday evening, July 29th, mid-Mariner game. They're losing, so we're not going to talk about it. Instead, Lyle, we're going to talk about how Yohan Duran of the Twins duped us today. He did a fake hug. There was some tweets out there that the Twins radio broadcast was saying, oh, he packed up all of his things and left the Twins bullpen. And you and I are like, eyeball emoji, eyeball emoji, eyeball emoji. And this dude was just fucking with us.
Do you not have to tip your cap, though? As two people who are in the content world and stir shit up all the time, I kind of have to tip my cap to Yohan Duran here. Because that was an A+ troll job. The dude knows he's getting floated out there in trade talks. He knows he's a leverage arm. He knows a lot of teams want him. And he says, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make sure I get myself on camera doing hug watch. You kind of have to tip your cap, especially when you're in our seat.
Did he tip off all the broadcasters too and make sure to say that? It's like, hey, like the Twins radio, right? They're probably not staring at the bullpen in the third inning when all this went down. They're like, hey, in the third inning, look out to left center field where the target field bullpens are. Instead of me purposely spiking a pitch to win a first inning, a third inning, first pitch of the inning bet, instead I'm going to be doing a fake hug with my teammates, and you're going to talk about it. And then TV broadcasters, you guys make sure to be looking out at the bullpen in the third inning and start talking about that I'm hugging my teammates. By the way, I'm not insinuating Duran was gambling. That's more of a Clase thing, which I will get to, I promise. I have plenty to say about that, but we can stick on this for now.
Don't you mean insinuating?
Insinuating, sorry. Yeah, that's good. Good catch.
Again, I would love Yohan Duran. And was I disappointed to find out that he was messing with everybody here on Tuesday? Yeah. But I don't know what you want me to do. Like, again, we live in the world of content, and people in content, certainly us included, stir things up all the time. Like, he executed that pretty well. All I can do is kind of shrug and laugh.
Do you think there's anyone in the front office that was like watching the TV and saw that and was like, wait a second. It's like, I have to send a text here really quick to make sure we didn't do anything without my approval.
I guess
you think
it's possible.
So? It is possible.
Although, actually, you know what? I'm going to take that back. No, because how the GM has everything go through him. How on earth could that happen?
What if it was like the assistant GM?
Oh, that would be funny.
It's like if Jerry made a trade and Justin Hollander had no idea that a trade was going down. And he's like watching the Mariner game on TV and is like, why are they hugging? It's like, what? Did I miss out on something? It's like checking Passan. Nope. Checking Rosenthal. Nope. Checking Heyman. Nope. It's like, what am I missing? That's what I thought was happening. I was like, why is no one tweeting about this? And then Jeff Passan did make sure to tweet about it right after the fact. And he's like, the reason Yohan Duran is hugging people in the Twins bullpen It's because sometimes friends just need to hug it out. I was like, thank you, Jeff.
Just weird timing for it. Very, very weird timing for it.
Yeah. Why is this deadline so slow, Lyle? I'm getting a little antsy.
I said it in our social media post this afternoon. I think it comes down to this. Nobody's balked first. What I mean by that is there's two sides with a line being drawn right in the middle. Obviously, the buyers and the sellers are on the two sides of the line. The buyers are not balking. They're not lowering the prices they're asking for, which are currently absurd for Gino, for Duran, for Jax, for others. Where the Twins, for example, are saying, yeah, you want one of our leverage arms? We can take two top 100 prospects back in return. Otherwise, we're not dealing them. And then you've got the sellers side of it who are saying, well, we're not giving that up. We're not giving you two top 100 prospects for bullpen arms who are going to throw 25 innings the rest of the regular season. So right now, everybody's in a standoff. And we got less than 48 hours to go. By the time you're all listening to this, if it's Wednesday morning, for example, we'll be at about 36 hours to go. So time's running out for somebody to balk. Now, when I think somebody decides to cave, you could see the dam just break and a lot of trades start to just rip off and let loose. But right now, it's been boring because nobody will take the bait on either side.
And that's how the Naylor trade happened. The reporting came out in the last couple of days that the Mariners and Diamondbacks had been talking about Naylor for a while, but most of the progress was made in the hour leading up to the trade because the Diamondbacks finally lowered the cost for Josh Naylor and the trade got done. But it doesn't seem like any other team, or even the same team in the Diamondbacks for Gino, are willing to make that happen. I will say the good thing about the deadline coming up, this does benefit the buyers a lot in this scenario. Because if the sellers really do want to sell, they're not just going to let the deadline pass without getting a trade in. Because then it's a whole bunch of wasted time. You don't get the return on your investment. Like, the Diamondbacks, yeah, could get a compensation pick for Gino, but if they really would prefer a trade package of guys closer to the big leagues for Gino rather than a draft pick who would be in the big leagues in potentially 3 to 4 seasons, then they should probably strongly consider making a trade here at this deadline as opposed to waiting all the way till the end of the season, and then you have to go through the process of giving him the qualifying offer. And then he has to walk. He can't take it. If he takes the qualifying offer, sure, you get Gino back for a year, and then that's it. So this does benefit the buyers here the closer we get to Thursday. The problem I'm getting to right now is when I think about like the Mariners' needs, the Mariners feel like they're not dead set on Eugenio Suarez anymore. It seems like they're interested if the price comes down a little bit, but it doesn't feel to me right now that the Mariners are willing to pay that Arizona Diamondbacks price of what we floated out there on Monday's episode, which was a big leaguer, a prospect in the high minors, and a prospect in the low minors. Doesn't feel like they're willing to do that for 2 months of Eugenio Suarez. It seems like they're willing to pivot and go off to somebody like a Willie Castro if they need to, if he's available at that point. So, like, at least they're leaving their options open at this point. But the more we look and the more I look at the Twins, too, how many of these guys actually will get traded? Do we think all of them are still getting traded?
Well, that's what I was going to counter with when you're talking about how this market is going to benefit the buyers by the end. I'm sitting here and thinking to myself, is it? Because if you put Gino aside, who's kind of in his own boat on his own, because he's such a unique rental bat, where when you look at the rest of the stars on this market remaining, it's the bullpen arms. The biggest stars left to be traded are the bullpen arms. And for the Mariners specifically, that is probably their biggest need remaining. Yes, you can argue third base, but they need another leverage bullpen arm. If it was up to me, I'd say they need 2 more bullpen arms, period. But they need another leverage arm. And to your point about this benefiting the buyers, I don't know. I sit there and say, if I'm the Twins, you do not have to trade Griffin Jax or Yohan Duran. So does it benefit the buyers? Because the Twins could sit there and say, yeah, if you're not going to give us the haul we want, then we're going to sit. We're not going to sell them. And talks could potentially re-engage again in the offseason. And by that point, is 2.5 years of a reliever that's elite that different than the price of 2 years of a reliever that's considered elite? I don't know if it is.
If you want third baseman, the deadline benefits the buyers. If you want relievers, I'd say no. Because both Willie Castro and Gino are rentals. And again, if you want something back for your rental, now's the time to do it. for the most part. Again, unless you want to wait for a draft pick who may or may not pan out, as opposed to prospects who have at least been developed and ushered into pro ball a little bit, especially for Geno. That, I think, is the benefit. And I do think the Mariners still are keeping their eyes open on third base. Jerry, in fact, went on the record and said he wanted to upgrade third base, which offensively they do need to do. But the Twins reliever problem, I don't know a good word to describe it. But Dilemma, yes, thank you. That's a good one. The Twins' dilemma that the Mariners are facing right now is looking at some of these other relievers like Bednar. I saw Fairbanks and the Rangers were linked earlier today. Some of those guys are still out there, but the two best guys are the Twins guys in Duran and Jax right now. You said it. The Twins don't have to trade them. So the Twins can absolutely sit there and say, if we don't get two top 100 prospects for one of these guys, by the way, it's two top 100 prospects, the price for those guys, each. So if you want Jax, it'll cost $2. If you want Duran, it will cost $2 more. So if they don't get that price they want with 2.5 years of control, Twins could just sit there and said, yeah, we'll check back in next deadline. And odds are, since we trust these guys and they're pretty nasty, they'll be just as valuable at that deadline.
Do you want me to dive into the Jerry quote or keep on this Twin stuff? Because you brought up both. I think we're going to get
We can get to Jerry in a little bit.
All right. So sticking on the Twins here. Do you think part of the reason there is such a standoff, especially with the Twins and other teams that are trying to pry away their relievers, is because of a potential missed season in 2027 with the lockout looming? So Jeff Passan brought this up here on Tuesday on Brock and Salk on Seattle Sports, and I thought it was a decent point. And Passan himself even admitted, I hadn't given this enough thought until the last couple days. And once I heard him say it, I said to myself, oh, that is an interesting thought. Do you think the Twins, for example, are sitting there and saying, look, if you want one of our stud relievers, that is a 2.5-year type price. That is the club control they have for top of the league bullpen arms. That's what you have to pay. But if you're one of the buyers, are you sitting there saying, is it really 2.5 years or is it more like 1.5? Because in a year and a half, there could be no season at all in 2027. And while you'll still maintain that extra year of control whenever baseball resumes, well, that's a whole extra year where not only they've gained another year in age, but they've taken a whole year off. They haven't pitched live in games. And maybe they're not as effective as they were when you first traded for them, as they've aged a couple years and, you know, their stuff could start to decline or whatever it may be. So if you're a buyer, are you sitting there saying that? And the Twins are saying, well, we're not taking that argument. You want the guy, you pay 2.5 years of control. But the buyer says, it's not really 2.5 years of control. So I don't want to give up two top 100 prospects. That gives the Twins so much more power in this scenario. So much more. Because then it's just how much do you want it? It's like, are you going to be willing to bend your own price that you're willing to pay for someone to go get these guys? Even if I think that thinking is correct. I 100% believe that. I do think they're going to miss some games. Last time the league, the CBA expired between the league and the players, if you remember 2022, they didn't miss any games, but the season got pushed back a week. They missed a week of spring training, and then they ramped it back up. By the way, it could have gone longer. Talking to a friend of the program, Trevor May, he didn't think they were ready to agree, but a lot of the players caved and they were ready to get paid. So they signed the CBA, and they only delayed the season by a week. I do think in this case it's going to be longer. It could be a season. It could be half a season. However long it's going to take the players and the owners to come to an agreement on this kind of stuff. It's a good way to think about it. However, you know my thoughts on thinking into the future, Lyle. When it comes to roster building, when it comes to trying to win, it's a fair argument. It's totally fair, logical, thought out, perhaps smart. But it's like, do you want to win this year? In simplest of terms, I think your mindset on the future is fuck the future. Yes, I've been told the future my whole life. Enough. Time to win now. Time to win right now. I mean, you said it yourself before we started recording, and I don't think you'll care that I air this out. You said if you hear from the Mariners post-deadline anything about love our farm system, excited about where we're headed, you're going to have a Frank the Tank meltdown.
I'm going to have a meltdown. Because you could go to the 23 deadline and hear the same thing. You go to the 21 deadline and hear the same thing. You know what that is, Lyle? It's loser talk.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to hear any loser talk, especially if we're going to transition to what I know you want to talk to right now, where you go on the record and you talk about how aggressive you want to be. And that's fine. I don't have a problem with you going out and saying, we plan to be aggressive. We're going to go after these trade targets. The problem with it is if you don't live up to that, then you just don't look very good. If you need any background to this, Jerry DiPoto, if you somehow missed it, talked to Jim Bowden this week. I think he talked to some other people as well and mentioned, we plan to be very aggressive, even after Josh Naylor. It's Geno, it's relievers, it's the Twins specifically we're going after. If that's like, we're planning to be aggressive with these guys, and we're planning to go out and use our resources to go acquire these guys. And I'll again preface what I'm saying, that there's still 48 hours as of recording before the deadline. And there's plenty of time to make this stuff happen. But just understand what happens. You say all this stuff, and then nothing formulates, and the Twins end up not selling. I don't want to hear a spin zone on it.
The problem is he said all in. I just don't understand why he continues to publicly say things like this. It is perfectly fine if you said our goal is to upgrade our roster, we plan to be aggressive, we plan to really be engaged with a lot of teams, and we hope to add a few different pieces to our roster by the end of the deadline. That's all fine. But by telling people you're all in, and I will give this one caveat, maybe Jim Bowden spun his words a little bit. But let's say he didn't, and let's say Bowden is doing his job as a reporter and a newsbreaker and saying that this is what DiPoto said. Like, I just don't understand for the life of me why you are saying these things. Because here's the expectation you've now put into fans' heads by saying you're going to go all in. You check the box by getting Naylor, or like one of the best hitters on the market, which great, you did that part. But by saying this after acquiring Naylor, you put the idea in fans' heads that you're going to go get one of Jackson Duran. Maybe you'll get a second leverage bullpen arm too. Maybe you'll also go get Willie Castro. I mean, that's what an all-in deadline looks like. You know what I think about when I hear an all-in deadline? I'll use one example. The Dodgers in 2021 when they traded for Max Scherzer and Trey Turner. Like, that's an all-in deadline. That's what an all-in deadline looks like. And when you set that expectation by unnecessarily speaking publicly about it, if you don't do that in the next 36 hours, especially then if you double down and say, well, we like our farm, we're excited for the future, it's like, well, you can't do that. You can't have both. You got to pick one or the other. And I'm not saying either of us would be happy about hearing about the future and hearing about what's to come down the road. But now when you've added fuel to the fire by saying you're going all in, you've put the notion in fans' heads that you are going to win the trade deadline. Like, you're going to have one of the 2 or 3 best deadlines of any team in baseball. And right now, while Naylor's a good ad, like, it ain't enough, especially when you set that level of expectation into people's heads.
All in, I qualify as like, I think if they're going to do like an all in deadline, yeah, you can base it off what they acquire. I would feel like an all in deadline, you need to trade at least 2 of your top 100 prospects right now. R.M. Layton of Just Baseball updated his top 100 prospect list today. He had the Mariners with 8, some other with 7. Some of the other publications had Mariners with 8. 2 of those guys gone in trades to go acquire these players at this point.
If you're wondering of the main 9 who are usually on these lists for the Mariners, the 2 Arm doesn't quite have on there are Felnine Celestine, who dropped off his list, and part of that may be because there just hasn't been enough power and enough offensive production down in Modesto this year. He is 19, and he's got time, but that may be why he moved off Arm's list for now. And then Durangelo's not on there yet. But the other 7, it's the names you know, and they're on there. Well, actually...
Yeah. No, you got it. That's right.
Yeah, but no, because it was 9 before they drafted Kate Anderson, right? Or was it 8?
It was 9 on Baseball America before they drafted Cade, yes. But Cole graduated.
Right, okay. So, yeah, take Cole Young out. So it's the other 7.
Right. So, in order, if I remember correctly, Cole, Cade... Well, we tweeted it out today. I don't have the tweet pulled up.
Why don't
Cole,
I've got it right here.
Sloan, Farmelo, Laz, Harry, Arroyo.
Oh, in order. You got it.
Yeah, well, I wrote the tweet out. I hope so.
Yeah, they have Cade Anderson, Just Baseball, at 24. So for anybody curious. Very good.
That's pretty good.
He is I think our guys over at Just Baseball have him as the third highest rated player from this draft class as we currently stand in the initial updated rankings. I think Ethan Holiday's ahead of him, and I think Eli Willits is ahead of him. But yeah, it's all pretty close. And
Tyler Bremner make the list, Lyle?
No, he was not on the list. He did not crack the top 100.
Very interesting. God, I was going to say something. I forgot.
Prospects, Twins, deadline relievers.
This is off topic. Who's rated higher at this time next year, Sloan or Cade?
I mean, the pause tells you how unreal Ryan Sloan's been this year.
Yeah, he's been good.
Like, I don't think he's going anywhere. I think the only way the Mariners trade Ryan Sloan is if, again, one of our pie-in-the-sky trade ideas of Ronald Acuna came true. Other than that, I don't think he's going anywhere.
So the answer to my question is...
Dude, I think I'm going to go with Sloan.
I don't think that's the hottest take in the world. I don't think so. It'll be close. I mean, it's going to be hard to think. Like, Cade would have to be really bad to drop from where he is right now.
But what if Sloan just jumps way up rather than Cade dropping?
Yeah, I mean, having two top 25 pitching prospects in your system is never a bad thing. So I think the Mariners would very easily take that. But that's the kind of farm system you're dealing with right now. Like, think of it. If you wanted to go trade for one of your pie-in-the-sky guys, you could trade one of your blue chip pitching prospects and still have another one.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty crazy.
That is a pretty crazy thought. And I think of that because I don't think this was a real rumor out there, but someone was floating out there today or yesterday that the price for Duran that the Twins were asking the Phillies for was Andrew Painter.
I mean, that's absurd.
Andrew Painter, but if you're unfamiliar, he was going to make the Phillies opening day rotation in 23, I think, if I have that right. 23?
I think it would have been 24.
Or 24. He was 20 at the time. He got Tommy John in spring training, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, he was a top 5 prospect, and he was going to be slam dunk as a 20-year-old starting the season in the Phillies rotation. Like, that's the kind of prospect this person floated out there. I don't know how true that is, to be honest. But seeing the price of 2 top 100 prospects and knowing that Painter is recovering from Tommy John, not the craziest thing in the world to ask for. Or, sorry, it is crazy to ask for, but comparing the two, it's not crazy.
So what exactly are the Mariners going to do here? Time's running out.
I think at this point, they're going to have to trade 2 top 100 prospects if they want one of these guys. I'm getting the feeling that the Twins are not budging.
Dude, the Twins don't feel like the easiest team to trade with. I'm going to be honest. We talk about the Orioles being a tough team to trade with, and they are. But the Twins don't feel like the easiest team in the world to make deals with. It just seems like that's how they operate. I know eventually the Mariners got the deal done for Jorge Polanco, but remember how long the Mariners talked about how they were interested in Polo, but that deal just never got done and they could never push it over the finish line? And part of me makes me wonder in that regard if, again, it's just very hard to make trades with the Twins.
This deal is also just so much different because how much more control Jackson Duran have, and they're not making as much money as Polanco.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't have, with Polanco, right, they at least had a replacement kind of ready for him. Miranda was the replacement, right? If I think I remember that right. Was that Jose Miranda?
Yeah.
So they had a kind of replacement ready, and it was a lot easier of a decision. With Jackson and Duran, I don't think it's quite that. Can I go off on another tangent here for a second? Emmanuel Clase move ruined this deadline.
Well, hang on. Say that again. Before you get to that, say the line again, but I'll say before you get to what you're going to rant about, I do want to touch on a couple other things after this, which is a couple other conspiracies and rumors, and then in the Mariners world, by the way, and then we can start to wrap up. All right, quick pause here. We're going to talk to you guys about our friends over at Pagach's Pub 85. That's over in Kirkland. You guys hear us talk about it all the time for good reason. And guess what? the Mariners have a big series coming up this weekend, and they're going to get 4 against the Rangers, and those are games they're really, really going to need to win. I'm sure you're going to be watching them. So why don't you head over there and watch the games? There's 20 TVs in the place. It's really cool. You can sit, you can hang out with your friends, plenty of space. There's games in that place like pool, there's darts, there's a jukebox. And if you go during happy hour, you guys, you get some awesome deals. $3 and $4 happy hour drinks all of Monday through Friday from 2 to 6 p.m. Again, those are long happy hours for awesome deals. 2 to 6 p.m. on Monday through Friday. You can get all that over at Pagacci's Pub 85 in Kirkland. So go for it. What do you got?
Oh, I was going to say Emmanuel Clase ruined this deadline. He ruined it. Can we explain why he did? Because in case you missed it earlier this week, he got put on paid leave at a suspicion of gambling suspicion. So he's suspended through the end of August. So he is off the trade market completely. And it sounded like the Guardians were shopping him completely around. Teams were interested in him. Now that Clase is off the market, that drives up the price on every other reliever. Because if you have let's say 4 elite relievers available on the trade deadline, that lowers the price of all of them because there's more pieces to go around. So I'm holding 4 up. This is when you should be watching on YouTube right now, because here's how the math is going to work out with this, right? So we have our 4 elite guys I'm going to name here. Clase, Cade Smith of the Guardians, and then Duran and Jax, right? We got 4 right here.
Do you want to throw Felix into that too, Batista?
I didn't feel like he was being talked as much.
It's weird. Those Orioles guys haven't been talked about as much in general. Like Ryan O'Hearn talk has been basically non-existent.
I mean, I can use fine. Let's put Felix on there. Let's put Pete Fairbanks on there right now. So that's 6. Or Bednar is 7, right? But the point of this still stands at this point. Once you take Clase off the board, that shrinks the pool of available elite relievers. And then because Clase's off the board now, and no one's going to touch him with a 10-foot pole, given that he gets suspended for gambling, the Guardians aren't going to trade Cade Smith. They wouldn't think about. It was already suspect before whether or not they were going to think about trading him. They're definitely not trading him now because their closer get suspended for gambling. So now instead of 7, we only have 5 relievers available. And now the price on everyone else goes up. And all the other teams are like, we don't want to pay that much. We can't pay that much for a reliever. That's crazy talk. So if Clase and Cade Smith were kind of still available, it would help the Mariners out a lot, but Clase probably threw a wrench into multiple teams' plans.
And honestly, I know you ended up adding Fairbanks and Bednar at the end there. I would put them a tier below the guys we're talking about right now, because those guys are good, but they're not quite on the Clase, Jax, Duran level. They're just not quite that same guy. They're very good, but a step below. So yeah, you're right. If you take those 2 off the board and then you assume Felix Batista isn't getting traded, paired with the fact that, look, he's been good, but his stuff hasn't quite been the same prime King Felix Batista, if you want to use that nickname for him. I mean, I don't, but people in Baltimore sort of use it. He has not quite had the same level of stuff as he had before he had the Tommy John. So you're right. By Clase being a chess piece now taken off the board, that takes everything down to the Twins and the 2 Twins relievers, which is probably why you've got the Twins here sitting and asking for 2 top 100 prospects, because they're saying, well, what are you going to do otherwise? You can either take a step below and go get a reliever that's good, but they're not the level of our guys, a.k.a. Fairbanks, Bednar, maybe a slight step below them too, but still good would be Kyle Finnegan. Like he's probably in the 3rd step on this list below those 2 levels, but still a good reliever. So they either say, yeah, take a lesser arm, or give us the package we want. Because you know what's crazy on top of this? Speaking of Jim Bowden being in the news this week and talking about reports, he was on foul territory after this Clase stuff went down, and he said, look, from everything I understand, Emmanuel Clase was going to get moved at this deadline. And I said, whoa, because I assumed it wasn't going to happen. And I assumed that there would be talks and people would offer packages, but in the end, I was like, you know what? The Guardians never usually full fire sale, so I would have a hard time believing they're going to do this with Clase. Until Bowden said he was going to get traded. And that's a shot to the heart, number one, because I would have been over the moon to see Emmanuel Clase in a Mariners uniform, but it also screws over a bunch of deadline plans because it's one less guy available.
My cutoff for relievers that I think the Mariners need right now is the Fairbanks, David Bednar level. I think that's the cutoff. Because the Mariners they don't need good relievers in their bullpen. They need like a dog in their bullpen. They need another guy to throw in the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning with a lead who's going to go in and he's going to eviscerate an opponent. Like, that's what they need right now. And that's why I say, like, I'm still sitting here and I want those Twins guys. I think those Twins guys are what this Mariners roster needs to take that next step. If you're going to target a reliever, you might as well target the top and just be really, really fucking good. You might as well. Because if they're going to go out and they're going to go trade for Jake Bird, you have Jake Bird in your bullpen already. You don't need another one. I promise. Jake Bird is a reliever with the Rockies. He got off to a hot start this year, but he's just been mid, essentially. His ERA is high because he pitches at Coors Field, but even so, he doesn't strike out an unbelievable amount of batters. His stuff's not otherworldly. That just doesn't interest me. And there was reports out there today from both Kramer and Jude that they were looking at 2 other relievers from the Rockies and Seth Halverson, who throws really hard but hasn't been all that effective. He still doesn't even strike out that many batters, even though he throws that hard. Juan Mejia is a rookie with the Rockies. He might be the best of the 3, but still just not an overwhelming kind of guy. They've talked about like a step down in Twins relievers, like Danny Colomé, I'm saying that right. Mm-hmm. Danny Colomé has had a very productive year. He's got an ERA of 1.16. Great. He throws 90 miles an hour. It's not a leverage reliever. I'm sorry. And then Brock Stewart's another guy in the Twins bullpen who's been really good. He has been really good this year, but he's sitting at 34 innings right now. His career high in innings is 34 1/3. And he's been mired with injuries in his career. That, to me, if you trade for any of those guys, it might make you a little bit better, but I don't want a little bit better. You need a leverage arm. Please. And that's why you need to trade the prospects.
And you know what? I'm going to amend a statement here on Kyle Finnegan, because while his first 3 months of the year were really good, he has had an atrocity of a July. And his numbers have taken a big dip as a result since. I mean, if you look at his results by month this year, April 3.09 ERA, really good. May 2 ERA, great. June 2.61 ERA, great. So far here in July, he's got an 11.25 ERA, and his whip's close to 2. And as a result, then you go look at his Savant page, and all the peripherals are down. When you look at Finnegan, he's not getting a lot of swing and miss. He's not striking a ton of guys out. The walk rate is okay. It's like, well, he might not even be in that real third tier. He might just be, like you said, another guy. He might be closer to the Jake Bird territory like we were just talking about, rather than being a true upgrade.
You already have Trent Thornton and Edward Bizardo in your bullpen. Like, you just don't need more.
What about a reunion with our guy Justin Topa? He's been okay.
Yeah, I was going to say, is he pitching well enough for me to say that he would be above those guys?
Probably not. All right, how about this?
Selfishly, I would love Topa back just to hang out with, but if we're talking from a baseball perspective, leverage arm in the bullpen, if 2023 Justin Topa wants to come back, that would work.
I mean, hey, he's not walking anybody and he's not giving up hard contact, but his ERA is at about 4 this year. It's 3.98 to be exact as we're sitting here recording, and the swing and miss numbers aren't quite there this year.
If he's a third reliever they acquire at the deadline, that'd be perfect.
Yeah, so
then we'll have someone to hang out with, and you still can watch Griffin Jacks.
So how about they trade for a package of Jacks and Topa?
Would it be crazy if the Mariners, if we're talking all in and Jerry wants to say all in, is it batshit insane to trade for both of them? Duran and Jacks?
I mean, no, because, okay, let me amend that. It's a little crazy because you'd have to give up so much to do it. But you know what, man? You look at your bullpen for the next 3 postseason runs, and it's Andres Munoz, Matt Brash, Yohan Duran, Griffin Jacks, Gabe Spire. Your 6th guy's Edward Bizardo. Yeah, dude. And especially those first 5. If you're not going to out-hit teams, because your offense just really isn't built to do that, especially a lot of the postseason teams, this is going to be how you have to win games. And you're not finding a better bullpen than that in baseball. If you go get both of those guys, you're not.
Yeah.
It's not a slam dunk. I will say
it's going to be expensive.
But it's a thought. It's worth the thought.
You're going to have to tie the value of 4 top 100 prospects into one trade package. Is that 4 of your lower top 100 prospects, or is that Johnny Farmelo?
Yeah.
Right? For both of them.
All right, so let's say the Mariners talk it down to 3. Because, again, the 2 top 100 prospects for relievers still seems like a lot. So let's call it this. Let's say it's one of the guys toward the bottom of the list and a couple guys in the middle of your top 100.
Laz. Lower on the list would be
Harry Ford, because the Twins need catching.
Yeah, Harry Ford. But the Twins' top catching prospects, their 17th prospect, and he's also an outfielder. So yes, Harry Ford actually works very well in this trade. So let's say Laz, let's say Harry, and then it's going to have to Durangelo.
Yeah, and Durangelo, at least per some outlets, isn't a top 100 guy. But God, when he's just been a right-handed starter this year, he has been so good.
Yeah,
that feels like a package that's pretty fair. And it's a lot. But you know what, guys? If that's what they trade, then fine. Look at what your system remains of. You still have Colt. You still have Cade. You still have Sloan. You still have Johnny. And those are your big 4 guys, to be honest with you, at this point. Like, Colt and Johnny are the 2, I'd say, big offensive prospects. I know there's probably people that are now going to get mad that I'm not including Laz in there, but...
Well, we just traded Laz.
1, we just traded him, and 2, again, you guys, like, we are big Lazaro Montes fans. I don't know how many times we can stress it. He's such an awesome dude, and we are rooting for this guy to be awesome. But just objectively as a prospect, he is striking out a ton. He has to mash to be a prospect. There are questions about what his defensive position is going to be long-term, if he has one at all. And while I hate to use batting average, I really do, because we're so against it on this podcast, just to put some context on it, he's only hitting about 220 in Double-A right now. I know he's 20 years old, but...
And he's in a big slump.
I could swallow trading those 3 guys to get Jackson Duran. I could. Yeah. Because, honestly, like, while it would suck to lose those guys, you're not, like... Think about this system as a big 4. And in my opinion, the big 4 at this point are Cade, Sloan, Colt, Johnny. Not in that order. Colt's the top prospect, but somewhat of that order. And you didn't trade any of those 4 guys to go get 2 of the best relievers in baseball for the next 3 postseason runs.
Mm-hmm. Our guy, friend of the podcast, Jason Churchill, just for some context on Laz's time in Double-A, we've seen some of the home runs, but in terms of his last 53 at-bats, he has 8 hits in that stretch with 25 strikeouts. So the swing and miss, again, is part of Laz's game, and it's shown a little bit in Double-A. Thankfully, he's 20 through the rest of the season, guys, as we try to emphasize. He's 20 years old. Give him a year and let him develop. But that doesn't mean he's untouchable, because he's not an untouchable prospect. The Mariners, as we said, don't really have an untouchable prospect at this point, depending on who's available. But for trading for both those relievers, yeah, I think most of the guys in the middle of the farm system, heck, if you wanted to shrink it down to not giving up the volume of top 100 guys, but trade one of your upper-end prospects, like, to be honest, I could listen. It's not going to be Colt. It's not going to be Cade. It's probably not going to be Ryan Sloan. That's where it probably comes back to Johnny Farmelo. But, like, I would listen. And it might hurt you in the end, but you know what also hurt? Missing the playoffs.
So it would be him and then some other flyer prospects, but Farmelo's the headliner?
Johnny, one other top 100 guy, and then a flyer, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Johnny, Harry, and...
a flyer.
Someone else.
Yeah, a lottery ticket. Somebody probably that's decently far away. But again, that's 3 runs you get at a postseason where you have 5 leverage arms. How many bullpens have that? Like, I'm thinking about the idea of Munoz, Brash, Duran, and Jax.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not even including Gabe, which maybe isn't fair, but, like, even those 4 alone without Spire is crazy.
It's fun to think about, and we're not even anticipating them developing in this scenario any other guys, or trading for any other guys, or signing any other guys for this bullpen. Super bullpens are a thing. They're very fun. It's good to have. It definitely helps out a rotation, which you think you assume is your strength, but it's very hard to repeat that year over year. Just like bullpen arms. If you have 5 leverage arms, say 2 of them are having off years, you still have 3 other ones. That's a good problem to have.
Dude, I'm in a twist with this deadline. Part of me just wants it to be over because I'm getting tired of all the scenarios and I'm tired of nothing else happening. But it's also stressing me out because I want to see them add more bullpen arms because they need bullpen arms.
And they still, honestly, Lyle, they need more offense at third base. They do.
Yeah.
But the problem is, if you don't get Willie Castro, there's a point where it might not even be worth it to upgrade.
Well, because once you get past Gino and Castro, who's even available at third base? It doesn't exist. I guess Nolan Arenado, but I don't think that's happening. He keeps declining, he's got a no trade clause, the money is real. It just doesn't feel like a fit.
And I don't know, is Brendan Donovan available?
I mean, I'd be all over it if he is, but I don't know if he is. Oh, you know what?
I was going to say, I think we forgot to include a reliever in this conversation. Since we're on the Cardinals.
We are on the same wavelength. We forgot one guy.
We've not been talking about Ryan Helsley at all. I would also think his price is very high right now.
Probably. Early in the year, he wasn't having his typical Ryan Helsley level season. Now it's still the worst year he's had in a few seasons now, but regardless, you're still taking the chance.
Yeah, he throws 104, so yes, you're taking him.
Yeah, you do, because he's pretty unhittable when he's at his best. Yeah, and most of the underlying stuff looks good. Honestly, his big thing is the thing that's kind of hurt him most of his career, if you want to even use the word hurt, because he's been so good. But yeah, he walks guys. When you throw that hard, it's hard to have pinpoint command. So yeah, Helsley, is he in the Duran-Jax level, or is the year he's had put him more in the Fairbanks bucket?
I would put him on the top level.
All right.
He's been pretty nasty. And relievers are, like I said, a little volatile sometimes. Mm-hmm. They pitch in such small samples that things can vary. And you don't get 210 innings to smooth things out. You get 60.
Weirdly, his fastball's gotten destroyed this year.
Just because you throw hard does not mean you're good. You got to do other things. It's got to be other elements to make stuff good. It's like why Archimedes Caminero was never an all-time great Mariner.
Well, this is more why I wonder if he is more in the Fairbanks Bednar level rather than the Jax Duran level. Because Helsley's thing is his slider's almost always been his out pitch, his true swing and miss offering. And this year it's the same story. His slider's been gross. But the four-seamer usually complements it really well because it's thrown so hard and, it's effective enough by run value. Right now it's getting destroyed. Opponents are hitting over 400 against his fastball.
Regardless of where you put him, he's still someone I put solidly in the bucket the Mariners need to get.
Well, yeah, I
who would
want
help
him
in the back end of their bullpen.
I want Ryan Helsley. I'm just saying I don't think the package for him should be the level of Jackson Duran. One, because he's a rental, and two, because he just hasn't been as good as he has the previous 3 years.
Great, Jerry. Go get him, please.
Yeah, let Trent Blank and Pete Woodworth do whatever they have to do to fix him. And not even really fix them, just tweak a couple things.
To wrap up this train of thought, the Mariners do need bullpen arms by Thursday. They cannot go into Thursday at 3 p.m. without bullpen arms. Cannot do it.
Oh, I'm sensing, if it keeps going like this, man, I'm sensing a potential heated Friday episode. A Friday episode people might want to mark on their calendars. It feels like there's going to be some emotions that get let out on Friday if nothing else happens.
I just don't want to blame the other teams at this deadline. Get something done. Have it work out. We're Mariner fans. We've suffered long enough. Have something finally work out for us.
Is there any chance Thursday is just going to be insane because it's dragged out this long that a ton of deals get done on Thursday?
There's always a chance. Yeah, always. Sure. That would be great for us. Help us with the energy levels on Thursday's episode or Friday's episode, as opposed to today, where we purposely, as you mentioned on Monday's episode, we usually record the Wednesday episode on Monday, but today we decided to just wait because, what if there's a trade? And we got Jack squat.
Yeah, as we're recording here, we're getting close to about 10 p.m. on Tuesday. No trades. Nope. Sorry, Sir Anthony Dominguez got traded. Now, don't let me forget about Sir Anthony Dominguez, who started the day in an Orioles uniform, walked over to the Blue Jays clubhouse, and then pitched against the Orioles in the second game of a doubleheader.
A Kendall Graveman if I ever saw one.
Tell me about it. Yeah, man. Like, we tried to wait as long as we possibly could just in case trades went down late, and we didn't want to miss anything. But nope, still no trades. All right. I got 2 conspiracies and then one little other note before we wrap things up. Number one, we forgot to talk about this on Sunday, but speaking of like watching #HugWatch and watching potential roster moves that happen with other teams or down on the farm to see like what in the world is going on and trying to piece things together for trade deadline season. So Teddy McGraw was supposed to have this autograph signing for the Aqua Sox. Last minute, he gets like yanked from the autograph signing. They have to find somebody else to replace him, and they did. But Teddy McGraw is still here. Like, I thought on Sunday when somebody gets yanked from an autograph signing like that so late that he was going to be a piece in a trade, but nothing.
Maybe stubbed his toe.
So he can't sign some baseballs? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he got the flu. Something like that. That happened earlier this year, didn't it? When someone got promoted? Who was it?
I forget, but the timing of that is very odd.
It's funny. I'm sure everyone gets a kick out of it, and we're like, oh, it's like the Divish line earlier this year. It's like, which Mariners Twitter personality is going to run with this first? Oh, that Julio was in Japan.
Oh, it was us. We ran with the first. Again, this is why I said at the start of the show, I can't get mad at Yohan Duran, because this is the type of shit we do. We cooked up this idea that Julio was in Japan to go recruit Roki Sasaki to play for the Mariners. Divish goes on Brock and Salk. Of course, Brock needles me and Divish at the same time with the questions. Like, you believe in reports out of the Marine Layer podcast that Julio's over in Japan recruiting Roki? And he's like, and Divish goes, you know, it's funny. I had a bet with all the other writers saying which Mariners Twitter personality was going to run with this first. And I got to tell you, Lyle and TJ, well, they won. They were right on it.
But he took Muse instead.
He took Muse, but we won.
Yeah.
Shout out us.
So nothing with Teddy McGraw.
Nothing with Teddy McGraw, but one that I would say is a little more intriguing than that one. That one's more funny. But on a more serious note, it's been almost a week since Luke Raley's played. What in the world is going on?
This doesn't make much sense, and it's been exactly since they traded for Naylor he hasn't played. Mm-hmm. As far as we know, he's healthy, but whenever they need a left-handed hitting outfielder, it's been Dom in the outfield. When they've needed a left-handed hitting first baseman, it's been Naylor at first base. If that's like what they believe now, like what do you have to trade Luke Raley? I mean, it's the strangest thing. We never thought once watching this season and said, yeah, Raley's an odd man out here. He's going to be on the block. This is like a very sudden, instant thing I feel like we've seen.
Mm-hmm. Like, to not even really pinch hit, to not get one start against a righty. And I get it that Dom Canzone's been really good, and he's forced the hand to keep him in the lineup every day. But I still figured there would be some way to work Raley into these games, but not even a DH day. And some of that's credit to Jorge Polanco, because Polanco's had a really good July. But, yeah, it's fascinating. So if you
can't keep all these guys on the roster together, by the way. You can't just like leave Luke Raley on the bench.
No, remember when they did that last April where for the first like 3.5 weeks he barely played, and we're like, what the hell is going on? Like, is he going to play or not? He's here. He's on the roster. So if he's not going to play, then yeah, it feels like you have to do something in the next day and a half. And that's why part of me wonders if he's not in the lineup because his name's in trade talks right now. I don't know that for sure, but it makes you wonder, right? Because there's a lot of left-handed bats that are better against the right-handed pitchers. They clearly favor Canzone right now. They just got Josh Naylor. And there's probably teams that would be more than happy to get Luke Raley.
I don't think they would hold him out for trade talks. I don't think he's that caliber of player to do that for. Is you risk ruining his value. In fact, I think what they're doing right now probably hurts his value more than anything, where it's like, we'd rather play Dom Canzone over you every single day without even thinking about it. So that part itself is not good. It would make more sense to keep him on the roster if there was like a clear platoon swap that you could put him in. But there isn't. Like, there's no spot where it, like, clearly makes sense that they've set this pecking order. Yeah, this is when Luke Raley is going to play. Like, no, I don't think so. Like, the only scenario you can think of to put him in a game is put him in when you've already taken either Canzone or Naylor out of the game because of a lefty reliever, and then you put Raley back into the game when there's a righty reliever on the mound. Or the only other one is if you need a center fielder for Julio. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
But I forgot, actually, Lyle, Dom Canzone can play center now.
Why? Because he did it in Tacoma?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't make much sense. I did not see this one coming. It puzzles me a little bit. But if they're going to operate this way, like, I do truly think they got to trade one of their left-handed hitting corner outfielders.
Maybe they will in the next day and a half. Who knows?
And sending Dom down to AAA at this point just doesn't make much sense.
Doesn't make much sense. It would be malpractice.
It would be. Right. Just to keep Raley on the roster. I think you could probably still send Raley down. But again, that also doesn't make much sense.
Yeah, Raley still has options, but same idea. Like, you're not sending him down.
No. That's kind of strange. Not something I had on my bingo card this week. But Luke Raley watch has been #on. Was the last thing you were going to mention Tyler Locklear heading to the Mariners?
It was. So he got pulled out of the game for the Rainiers here on Tuesday night. He is on his way to Sacramento. He's going to be activated for the Wednesday game for the Mariners by the time you're listening to this podcast. The corresponding move hasn't been announced yet, and it will happen at some point on Wednesday afternoon, I assume. This doesn't feel like a trade. I thought earlier in the day maybe it would be, and I talked to you about it when we were texting about it. But the more I think about it, when you hear corresponding moves set to be made, that doesn't feel like a team saying, well, tomorrow we're going to announce a trade. That feels like a roster move is coming. And the couple that would make sense would be Dylan Moore or Donovan Solano probably getting DFA'd. And if I had to pick one or the other, it would probably make more sense it was Solano, at least for right now, only because that's the role Locklear would fill, where he's going to play against left-handed pitching and play first base.
I think it'd be Solano. You're not going to send a lefty down or cut a lefty because of Tyler Locklear coming up, because Locklear can only play first base, and Demo at least plays other positions. You're not going to swap a first baseman for a utility player, and then you have 3 first basemen and 1 less utility player. That doesn't really make as much sense in that fact. If you're worried that this means the Mariners, if they cut Solano instead of Dylan Moore when this episode comes out on Wednesday, I have a hard time thinking Dylan Moore is going to still be here after Thursday. The way I've seen people talk about it kind of makes sense. I think Dylan Moore is on this roster until they get past the deadline. If they don't need him to even out salaries, then they'll just let him go.
Yeah, and by that point, you'll call up Leo Rivas. If you like Rivas moving forward, you can keep him. Or once Miles Mastrobuoni's 10 days in the minors is up, then you bring Mastro back.
Right. Yeah. Some strange things this week, Lyle.
Very. Including Dylan Moore reportedly being available for trade.
Great. Now, does anybody want Dylan Moore in trade?
The silence is saying it all.
Pretty telling, yeah.
Dude, he is 2 for his last 58 now over his last 2 months. His strikeout rate is 52% in that time. I feel bad because he's the longest tenured Mariner. He's done so many good things as that utility guy for a long time now, but it's just time. Like, it's become untenable.
You can't play him.
Right.
Yeah, and there's no way to justify playing him.
No, I was always kind of scratching my head at Leo Rivas getting sent down when he did. I thought he was playing a nice role when he was here, and I would still like to see him back here. So we'll see.
Now he'll probably come back up.
Yeah. Well, him or Mastro, we'll see. I do want to give one quick shout out to Tyler Locklear before we get out here, because the big thing with him is his chase rates were just, they were a real problem down in Tacoma for a lot of the year, and that was probably a big reason why he hasn't seen the big leagues yet this year. They've chilled out a little bit. They're still a little bit below average as a whole when you look at the underlying numbers for Locklear, but the fact the swing and miss and the chase has cooled out, like has really kind of fizzled down. Strikeout rate isn't crazy, and he's hitting for so much power right now, and he's hitting the ball with real authority. I think that's what warranted this call-up. So I'm excited to see what he can do. Like, this is a role, at least for the next 2 months, that was kind of carved out for him. Play first base and mash against lefties.
He made some swing changes. Well, maybe when he officially gets called up, we can talk about him a tiny bit more. But he did make some swing changes down in Tacoma after he was struggling earlier this year, and it's really paid off. I think his average exit velocity is like close to 95 miles an hour. That's insane. That's what Aaron Judge does. It's pretty nuts.
Yeah, it's really good. We'll see him on Wednesday. And the next time you guys hear from us, well, one of two things will have happened. Either we'll be doing an emergency episode because they actually made a trade, or you'll hear from us on Friday morning when they've done nothing else. And I'm sure that will be one colorful, animated episode, to put it lightly. So you better mark your calendars, because one way or another, I would say you don't want to miss these next episodes.
Buckle up, folks.
Yeah. We are going to do a little bit of a different show schedule next week, because we owe you guys some mailbag episodes. I know, like, because of the trade deadline and because of moves happening, we've missed a couple mailbags, especially last week when the Naylor trade happened. So because of that, we're going to do 2 next week. We're going to do one for Monday, and it's basically going to be a trade deadline mailbag. Send us all your thoughts. Send us your grades. How did they do? What did they miss? We'll answer a bunch of those questions. And then next Friday, it'll be a pretty standard mailbag where you guys can just send us whatever you want. So we owe you guys some mailbags. We're going to do some mailbags. But yeah, the next couple days, buckle up and lock in. That'd be my 2 cents of advice for everybody.
Yeah.
All right. I think that wraps up this edition of the Marine Layer Podcast. You guys know the drill. You know what? All right. Never mind. You guys know the drill. If you want to listen to the full form podcast, you can do so wherever you get your audio pods. Make sure to download, rate and review, leave 5 stars. It's a big help if you do. Like, comment, subscribe over on YouTube. That is the best way you can support the channel. Just hitting that subscribe button. It just takes 1 second to do. It's easy. It really does help us out. And if you're on our website, again, it's the whole 9 yards. You can get your merch, sign up for our Patreon, our live show schedules that'll be upcoming. All the information you need to stay on top of all of our stuff is over at our website. That's marinelayerpod.com. And then you can find us across social media at marinelayerpod. That's TJ. I'm Lyle. As always, we thank you guys for tuning in. We'll talk to you soon.